Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important things when it comes to winning gunfights and holds a lot of people back from reaching their potential within first-person shooters. And I've talked about this quite a bit on the second channel, and that's centering, or as some people will call it, crosshair placement. So we're going to go through several examples from bad up to perfect and everywhere in between. So if you enjoy the video, learn something new, please do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're brand new, looking to find your way back, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Also, my partners at Control Freak want to give you guys a heads up that they have a brand new thumbstick. If you guys have been using Control Freak for a while, you'll know that it kind of has that 3-prong where it kind of snaps on the controller pretty easily. But for some people, it would tend to pop off if they're playing a little too aggressively. And they just released the 4-pronged ones, which will have a little bit more security on that thumbstick. And if you guys aren't familiar with Control Freaks, I've been using them for quite a while. They pretty much help with that range of motion. You get a little bit more precision control, which usually allows you to up your sensitivity while maintaining that aim, or to just improve your aim in general. And that improvement to your aim increases your KD on average by 26%. So definitely try them out for yourself. Link near the top of the description, or just code JGOD at checkout. So we'll go ahead and start off with a bad example using my own video. I could have focused on good examples of myself, but I thought I'd show you guys a bad one. And it comes into winning this gunfight here. So pretty much it's right here. And you see where my crosshair placement is. You're gonna know that this is terrible crosshair placement as soon as we see the good examples. But you see where I'm kind of looking instead of the center of this doorway. Ideally, I mean, it would have been cool if I was near this guy, but the perfect centering would have been somewhere right here at the center of this door at chest level. If the guy comes around, I'm gonna be perfect. I don't have to adjust. In this particular case, if I was right here, I would have made just a micro adjustment. I would have been on the target, and I probably would have downed them or killed them, but you're gonna see what ends up happening in the gunfight. I have to adjust, and in that little bit of micro adjustment, I end up too high versus cutting to the left. And it would have been a difference of like 100 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds. But as we know, that's often enough, the difference between winning and losing a gunfight. I would have already been adjusted and I would have won that. As I come through here, you can see I end up being a little bit better at that. I'm right at the center of the doorway. And then as I come right out, I'm right at the level where it is. So my centering is much better when I have an idea of where the enemy is. But when I don't know, my centering is a little bit low. And we kind of see how I end up taking this gunfight. I kind of pre-aim it the right way. I pre-aim where the guy's going to come out. So pretty clean. Started off bad, did significantly better. And what we're going to look at here is a couple examples from Tommy, Doug is Raw, professional players, as well as some of the cheaters that we saw in our last video of spectating random. So we're gonna go through a bunch of them. I'm gonna have links to their channels down in the description if you wanna go ahead and check out Tommy or Doug is Raw, so that you can go ahead and subscribe to them, check them out on YouTube or where they stream live on Twitch. So we're gonna go through various examples there. So I've already gone through the videos here and timestamped these specific examples so you can kind of see them pretty much without much editing. We're gonna see here is he thinks that there's someone below him. He kind of looks up because there are 2 people on the heartbeat sensor. And then as he drops down, you're gonna see his centering is not perfect. So even professional or top level players do make mistakes, and we're gonna see another example where it's perfect centering for this exact same scenario. So let's go ahead and check this out. So he comes through, he's like, oh, where the hell is this guy? I didn't really see him. Maybe if he ADS, the guy would have seen him, but the guy disappears, he comes through, and then you can see he does the same adjustment that I had to do when he dropped down. So if we go back a little bit further, when he drops down, you can see that his crosshair placement is a little bit low. And this is a top level player, right? And we're gonna see another example. So his adjustment wasn't perfect. And because they are human, they do make mistakes. The centering could have been much higher in this specific scenario, but he adjusts and ends up winning the gunfight. Good scenario where it kind of shows, hey, pro level players can be human. But now the rest of them, you're going to see some pretty disgusting centering right here. So we're going to go ahead and skip to 432. So as he comes through, he's going to come up. He's going to center as he peeks out the doorway or the window. He knows the people's here because of the Bertha. They jump out. He pre-aims. He realizes that there's 4 of them. He's going to end up calling in the UAV. You can see his centering as he comes around here. It's kind of center for the center for the doorway. And then he pops the UAV, and it only looks like there's 1 guy here. You can kind of see where his crosshair placement is on the center of this. He comes through, he hears the guy, he ends up seeing the guy cut across, he centers on the doorway, ready for the chow, and then he's pre-aiming where he thinks the guy is, which is the center of the doorway, even pre-firing, thinking the guy is going to chow, because likely the teammates of those guys said, he's one shot, or whatever the heck they're going to call out while he's there, and then he makes the micro adjustment to end up taking that guy out. So you're going to see it right here. He ends up taking a little bit of damage there, not much, and then he pre-aims. This guy does a crazy jump down, but you can see where his crosshairs are, pretty much on the door, pre-firing, makes a macro adjustment, and that guy ended up landing some pretty clean shots, but he ends up cleaning that guy out. So you can kind of see where the placement of the crosshairs are. Very similar to mine. When I knew where the guy ended up was, I was able to adjust. When he didn't, you can see his crosshair placement significantly better, not looking at the ground. And this is more common in controller players than it is in keyboard and mouse, because generally the placement is just a little bit, I don't know. When I play keyboard and mouse, my crosshair placement is generally better than it is on controller. I think it's just a bad habit of controller players. So right here, you could hear the audio of this in this scenario, and then he ends up baiting, taking damage, and then you could see where the damage indicator is. He puts his crosshair placement very close and then makes the adjustment after swapping his weapon. So I've already broken down kind of the play. You can hear the guy on the left. He comes through, pre-aims it, right on the center of the doorway, not below the doorway, not above the doorway, not to the side, right on the doorway. You can see him come out, he baits a shot, he doesn't really know where the guy is, and then he ends up getting shot, and you can see the hit marker indicator telling him kind of where this guy is. You can see his crosshair placement right on the line there. He adjusts, ends up taking the guy out. The guy didn't realize he repositioned, and then he was able to take that guy out. So pretty clean kills there in Warzone, right? Look at the placement here. When the Gulag, look at how perfectly aligned his centering is with his aiming right above the head glitch in the Gulag. So look at when he slides up, he perfectly aims exactly at this head glitch. Look at how it's perfectly on line, assuming that the guy's going to be there. The guy isn't there, so he comes out and he pre-aims the doorway a little bit low. But then as the guy comes out, he's able to make the adjustment. Obviously, aim assist probably helps a little bit there. And then he's able to take that guy out. Pretty easy kill. Not much adjustment. He's already there pre-aimed. And in the Gulag, the TTK is so fast, that's enough to win you the gunfight if you're pre-aiming the right spot, or at least centering the right spot. So by the time you aim down sight, you'll be in the perfect target area. Now we're going to do is take a look at some Call of Duty pros. I know most of you guys probably aren't a fan of this particular game, but these are pro level players playing on LAN from the recent CDL event. And if you watch the full matches, it's crazy the level of discipline they have and its consistency to pre-aim and center on the correct spots 9 times out of 10. Because what's going to happen here, I'll talk as it's going on, is that you're going to see a little bit of where they pre-aim, and the little white outlines is a spectator type of thing. This isn't what they're actually seeing on their screen, obviously, but he's ready for it when the challenge comes out, and you can kind of see how they're playing the situation. He ends up pre-aiming that perfectly, adjust, gets centered chest, and then takes the guy out. TTK obviously in multiplayer is a lot better. This guy's on, you can see how when he came out, he pre-aimed the exact spot where it was. Their guns are pretty much always at that chest level of where a player is going to be. He's able to get that guy in the heady. Obviously he's getting hit here. These guys die a lot because they're pro level, aiming, centering, everything's perfect. But the fact that he's right on where that target is, but you can't see them in purple. Obviously they're lit up and they're lit up in white, but they go back and forth and you can kind of see where their gun placement is. Obviously the guns don't have a lot of recoil in this particular game, or in COD in general, but they come out and the placement is almost always perfect. And that's sometimes the difference. You do not have a chance to react if the placement is that good. And that's why I say a lot of times it would boost your KD, because if you're getting the first, second, or third shot, while somebody is looking down, you already landed 3 or 4 shots by the time they even adjust their aim. They have to deal with flinch. You've already won the gunfight. And that's what separates a lot of top level players. And it makes it very hard to detect if someone's using walls. I know everyone thinks every streamer is cheating. It is what it is, right? I'm sure somebody's going to tag, hey, you never seen this clip? Out of context, and it doesn't, you got to see a full clip, watch them live, and see how they play. But you can see the centering. This is pro level players on LAN doing things fundamentally right. Let's go ahead and look at a couple bad examples of the guys from my spectator video that were cheating, or at least that I think were cheating, right? These are guys that I think were cheating. The centering, you could have good centering, but it's got to make sense, right? The problem is coincidentally, someone is where this guy perfectly pre-aimed, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and mute this so we don't have double JGOD audio, but he's gonna come through over here. This Bertha's right here on the left. And then there might be a guy that jumped out, and the Bertha's still over here. He doesn't even look at it. His teammate's pre-aiming over here. And then let's go ahead and take a look a little bit further. So you can see where he pre-aims right here. There's no real indicator. If you look at the mini map a dozen times, there's no indicator. As he comes through over here, there's a guy right here. I don't think he actually noticed him, but I think this guy has like a 2D radar. Maybe it's delayed. He has some kind of cheat. As he comes through, like realistically, the good pre-aim would have been pre-aim that opening. This guy's pre-aiming there, and then he makes the adjustment, and then kind of has an idea where that guy is, right? So some people could say, hey, you know, it's just a random pre-aim. But as he comes through here, this is a very strange place to pre-aim as he comes around the corner with zero intel. He just pre-aims this door, and coincidentally, the guy is right on the other side of this, inside that gap. So maybe his distance is thrown off or whatever it is, but that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So now we're gonna get into a couple examples of Doug is Raw, which is probably one of the best centering players in the game. I know there's a lot of great players. I think it's his keyboard and mouse background. He played professionally with keyboard and mouse, so probably that translate over pretty well. But we're gonna look at here is 118. We're gonna look specifically at this, and this is a good pre-aim when he comes out here. So just watch this as he comes through. He knows there's a guy right here, so look at where he pre-aims. His centering is perfectly on this door. There didn't end up being anyone there. He aims down sight. He comes up here, and now he double checks the top. He's like, the guy's still there. You can't really see the level he's on. He looks like he's on the same level. It's probably one of those half-level deals where it looks a little bit off. But you can see, look at his crosshair. He ADS, like, what the hell? Where's this guy at? And then this is what distinguishes Doug from a lot of players. Look at this, how he adjusts his aim so when he falls perfectly, it's centered perfectly on the doorway because he doesn't know the guys to the right here. Look at how he adjusts. Look at his aim perfectly. Perfectly centered. Like, if you want to see how to center better, watch Doug is Raw. Like this dude, you're going to show several throughout this. It's so good. He makes the adjustment. Obviously, he has to jump, adjust, and react. Unfortunately, the guy wasn't in the doorway. But if he was, that guy gets demolished even quicker, right? He doesn't take any damage. But that would separate that. If the guy was in the doorway, when he drops down, he takes that guy out. And we're going to see several more examples of that as we go through. And there's a lot of good ones. So right here, here's the example that I was talking about that is identical to Tommy's in the way that he drops down and looks at the stairway. Look at how he centers versus remember how Tommy's was a little bit lower? Just because when the drop down, sometimes that's a difficult way to center. So look at how he does this. Like perfectly right on the center there as he comes down, not too low. And it seems like he is very deliberate around how he adjusts his aim. Like it was right there and there's no one there, right? That the thing is that most of the time, nobody's going to be there. But if you're very disciplined with your centering, you should only have to make a micro adjustment to end up on the target. But you do that thousands of times where the player's not there. But when they are there, that person's getting demolished. And that's what tends to happen. So he was there, but he was already in the motion to change movement. And then he comes back out, still perfect centered. When he aims down sight, he damages the guy, comes back through. And you can see he's centered on the doorway here, or the stairs, so that if he needs to adjust up, to the left, to the right, he's in a good spot. The guy ends up coming down this way. He's able to adjust, come through, and then he takes the guy out. Pretty good. Control the weapon, all that stuff. Everyone control the gun. If you're even average, you should be able to control the gun. But centering and positioning, those are differentiators that take you to the next level. Here's another one where he ends up taking this guy out, but then when he drops down here, look at the centering on this. You can see how he kind of deliberately angles his person so when he jumps down, he's right on there. We're going to watch this one again because this one is just so good. After he takes this guy, look at how he adjusts his aim before he drops. Very deliberate so that when he falls down, he's at perfect chest level so he can pull the trigger. This next one is even crazier because like I said, he has the perfect centering for adjusting your aim. So he came through and you can see where his aim is. pretty deliberate right here. Obviously on his screen, there's a guy here, but it's very hard to see because YouTube will downscale it. But he's right here so he can look down or adjust up. Look at this. Boom, he adjusts with his aim, and then he gets basically on the guy, takes the guy out. But deliberately placing the crosshairs where they need to be for the most logical spot to make an adjustment or where a player is going to be ends up allowing you to win gunfights that maybe you probably wouldn't have won. Or if the enemy's not doing those things, you end up in a good spot to win that gunfight by landing bullets before they even aim down sight and get on target. Just like Tommy, look at how he ends up on this heady with the stoner as he comes out.
I was going to finesse him with a slide jump, but I think the thermite stopped me.
Look at how perfectly, like already aimed down sight perfectly he is. He didn't know where the guy was, right? He just pre-fires a little bit. You can see the aim is right where he needs to be, and then he's ready for a jump shot. If the guy pre-aims, the guy came out. He ends up hitting him. Took him out. Fairly standard kill. Now let's go ahead and look at 9-10. And this one, I think these people probably had Ghost. Obviously, it's a highlight gameplay where he dropped 41 kills, so they chopped a lot of the gameplay out. But what he's going to do is drop down and look at his centering on the door. He'll even pre-fire to kind of bait shots. See, he didn't know where the guy was. He shot, and then, hey, there he is. And he's already getting out of the way, assuming maybe somebody's there. The other guy's coming up. He ends up taking that guy out. So fairly standard kill. That guy was mad. But look at how he comes in, and look at his centering on the doorway, all at chest height. And then he comes through. He didn't know exactly where the guy was, came through. The audio, maybe you heard the guy running up. I'm not 100% sure because obviously the audio is condensed differently. And those are just a few of the examples taken at random from a couple top level players on how effective centering is. You can see kind of how they position their crosshairs very methodically, and they don't even got to think about it because it's so ingrained to their behavior versus someone that is a little bit newer, or maybe they have bad habits like me on occasion. I have to consciously work on it day after day after day. And even then, it could still be one of those things you're going to have to work on repetitively to improve it over time. Because at a certain point, it's just like so natural, but you have to know to fix it, or else you're going to just continually have this problem where you keep looking down, keep looking at the ground. And I know it's more of a controller issue, but in general, it is sometimes the difference. That macro adjustment or micro adjustment is enough to lose you the gunfight. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, please do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're brand new, want to find your way back, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Do appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching as always. Have a great day.